Mike Douglas is Michigan's retirement coach.
All right, so today we're going to attempt in 20 minutes to tackle the notion of how do we take our saving mentality of not just any mentality, a decades-built saving mentality, and flip it. Within one day, we go into retirement, Mike, and suddenly we're supposed to know how to spend that money. We've been saving. Now it's time to spend. No problem, right? Wrong. Big problem. All kinds of problems for the folks here of Grand Rapids. Spendophobia is a term that's being tossed around. A recent study found nearly half of American retirees are suffering from spendophobia. It's the fear of spending their savings, even if they have enough money. What can they do to get over it is the question we're going to tackle today. This is where we'll start. Retirement blogger Fritz Gilbert was on Morningstar talking about how he has gotten over the fear himself. Here's what he said.
In retirement, you're finally at the stage where you're free to do these things with your life, and you don't want to be constrained by that old frugalistic mentality. So it's a big transition. I would say it probably took me about 5 years. And the hack that I use, I set up automatic paychecks, basically. It comes out of a money market fund. I set it up every year end. I go through the numbers again. I restock this cash bucket, and I just set up a paycheck based on my safe withdrawal rate. I know I'm good to spend it.
Well, Fritz sounds very healthy.
He's living his best life right now.
All right, Fritz. Does Fritz like to listen to Wood Radio? Has he heard Michigan's retirement coach?
Yeah.
All right. The work you do at Life Plan Financial Design, Mike, you and your team, how do you help people become the spenders that you want them to be in their retirement years, getting over this fear of spending? Let's talk about it. In fact, we have a list here of 7 habits, 7 things to go through an effort to become the spender that you should be in retirement.
Yeah, this list is really, really good. When we talk through these things, oftentimes I'm like, they're somewhat right.
When we have lists, you mean, and because we do. We like a good list on this radio show, so you're right.
I love it. Well, because I also like to see what people are telling retirees and whether I think it's right or not.
Right. But usually you don't agree with everything on a list. And this one, I think you agree with all 7 of these points, do you not?
I'm big on it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, because I don't like it when people from random parts of the country try to tell us how to live our life here in Grand Rapids.
Right.
I think it's really about what is the cost of living here? Mm-hmm. What is it like around our area? You know, we're offices in Kentwood. Like, what is the cost of long-term care facilities, and what is the cost of retirement here?
Yeah.
That's what I care most about. And most lists don't fully encapsulate it. But I got to tell you, when it comes to this, I love it.
Okay.
We help people deal with spendophobia all the time. And as we go through this, if we hit some hot spots and you say, gosh, I'd like to work through this, you can give us a call and we'll work through it with you. 616-512-2127 or michigansretirementcoach.com. As we go through this list, there's going to be some things and you may say, hey, this makes sense. I'd like to talk through it or help me deal with my spendophobia. We're here. Give us a call and we'll talk about it. So let's go through this list. 7 things to help overcome and help transition from saver to spender. Because the reality is this, we spend our lives saving. Mm-hmm. We work for 30 to 40 years, putting money in a 401k, put money in a 403b, and you're saving. So one day I can live on the money. And then the day shows up and I'm left here with a 401k statement and a Social Security paycheck. And I don't know what to make of it. Number one thing, create a detailed financial plan and keep it updated. Work with someone.
Can I interrupt that second part?
Yeah.
Like, that's create a detailed financial plan and keep it updated, I feel is the one we really need. That second part there. It's almost point 1A.
Yeah. Well, and I think people come in and they have an account, right? Like they worked at a company, they have a 401k, and they know they get their Social Security, maybe you get a pension. And then we say, all right, well, how much are you going to take? What are the tax consequences? Is this going to trigger any extra taxes? And people don't know because they say, I just have this account. And they call it a retirement plan, but it's not a retirement plan. It's an account. The same way you have a bank account. You still need to make sense of it. And you still need to understand, all right, if I take from this account over here, here's how I'm taxed and here's how much I get after taxes. If I pull from this account over here, here's what it does to my Social Security or my Medicare premiums. It all relates.
Right.
We need to understand how it all works. So that detailed financial plan is not just, do I buy Apple stock or NVIDIA stock? It's really about how I live off this money. So number one, have a detailed financial plan that deals with everything, right? It needs to look at your income, your investments, your taxes, your risk, your estate planning, all of that in one.
Okay.
And one of the biggest fears retirees face is not knowing how much they can safely spend. And how do you know if you don't know about the tax consequences and all the different pieces that work together?
Right.
So number one, create a detailed financial plan and keep it updated. And then again, inside of that is the decision of, well, how do I get income from dividends and annuity, real estate? What are the options? Inside of that is, how do I deal with taxes and minimize my exposure? How do I protect my estate? How do I deal with risk? That's all inside of a good retirement plan. And unfortunately, people think an account's a plan. So if you're out there and you say, I've never built a robust plan that covers all these bases, we get it. You're part of the majority. Oftentimes you want to retire. You've been doing whatever you've been doing for your life. And now it's time to live off this money, and you want a good strategy for it. If that's you, give us a call, 616-512-2127, and we will help you see what it looks like to build a detailed financial plan on your terms for your family. And you can figure that out, and we'll help you kind of understand it. So number one, create a detailed financial plan and keep it updated. Constant. No, I don't want you, when I say constant, I'm not saying you wake up in the morning and check your accounts daily, because that's not living either.
That's not what we want to do. But on average, how often would you say somebody needs to revisit their plan? How often do you meet with clients?
So there's two answers to that. Number one, how often should you revisit it as a person with your money? Mm-hmm. I think you should check on it monthly or quarterly.
Okay.
I think you should stay apprised of it. With an advisor, I think you should be talking to them once or twice a year.
Okay.
We don't want to over move the market. Sometimes you over manipulate it and you're trying to catch a falling knife, and the market does this and you adjust. The advisor should be adjusting, but we don't want to course correct the entire plan every 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. What we want to do is have a 10,000 foot view of the plan, knowing that there's someone who's watching the money, managing the money, taking care of it on a more micro level. We want you to enjoy life doing what you're supposed to be doing: snowboarding, traveling, golfing, whatever those things are. Mm-hmm. And then just do a check-in. It's a healthy check-in, whether it's good or bad. We want to do a health check on our portfolio every 6 months to a year. We require at least once a year, but oftentimes it's more often than that. So number one, keep it updated. Number two, this is one that I'm really, really big on. So, I love the book Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. Yep. And it's one of the most powerful books about retirement planning, dying with zero. Not zero money, zero regrets. And the term is number two, remind yourself that money is a tool, not a goal.
Yep.
While we're working, we set goals of our savings, which is good. I love goals. I exhaust my kids with my talks about goal setting and goal saving and living and acting with purpose and, all the time. But you need to remind yourself that at some point you hit the goal, and the goal is to retire. And so once you get to that point and you start living off of it, this goal becomes a tool that now I say, all right, I'm using this money not so it continues to grow and I die with more than I ever lived with, but instead it's a tool to do everything I wanted to do, to love my family, to travel, to see the world, to give back and give to churches and charity, whatever it is. It's the tool that now I use to purpose and to be fulfilled and to know that it was all worth it. Right. So you retire, and now you have this freedom and this flexibility and these resources to make a difference in your family's life, in your own life. It doesn't have to be altruistic all the time. Yeah. Sometimes the goal is, I'm not going to be here during the winter. I'm going to Florida. I'm out. I dealt with this. I've shoveled snow for 50 years. I'm out of here. And that's good. And let the money be a tool to accomplish that. If your goal is, I want to do missions work, I want to give to my church, I want to give to a charity, I want to get involved and be very philanthropic, that's a goal too. And that money is a tool, whatever it is. For us, we're big on living inheritances, which is, I have kids and I'm excited that one day we'll have grandkids. And a lot of you are out there and that you have grandkids and you have these people in your life that you love and you want to do something powerful for them. Why would you just wait until you die for them to get money? Instead, let's start doing things together. Let's take trips together. Let's invest in them together. Hey, if you have a grandkid who's 22 years old and trying to get a business started or whatever, be involved in that. Mm-hmm. Be involved in making a difference in their life where you can, positively impact them. So that's one of the things. Use it as a tool, not just a long-term goal. These are conversations that you have to work through, and it's not as simple as check a box, become giving. Not as simple as that. You have to understand the process to becoming this type of a person. It's different than the saving person, but yet give your money a purpose. That's how, when we work through a plan, we build out the strategies in our conversations with people. We want to understand how that happens. If you want to know how to do that, give us a call, 616-512-2127, or you can reach out to us at michigansretirementcoach.com, because this is where you go from someone who earned to someone who gives, and someone who's saved to someone who spends. The fear people have all the time is that they're going to run out of money. But people on their deathbed have fears, have regrets of not doing more. It's never working more.
Right.
It's always family, purpose, passions, faith, right? Those are the things people want to give back to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think sometimes we wait too long to do something. So number 2, remind yourself that money's a tool, not a goal. That one really just resonates really hard. Let's go to number 3. Okay. Number 3 is interesting because number 3 and 4 kind of dovetail together. I remember the movie, Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray were in a movie called What About Bob? Richard Dreyfuss was a psychologist, and Bill Murray was this guy named Bob, and he had OCD, very bad, couldn't touch doorknobs, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And the whole thing was this very funny movie about Richard Dreyfuss trying to get it so Bill Murray could accomplish life. Mm-hmm. And he would have to take baby steps. Mm-hmm. And he would say, baby steps to the elevator, baby steps pressing the button, baby steps doing this. That was the term they used. A lot of retirees need baby steps to spend. But it's not going to be, hey, you know what? Just send me $5 extra grand a month. I'll be okay with that. There's no way. What it is you start thinking of something you'd like to do, and start budgeting it in. Yeah. I'd love it if I could, take my grandkids out to breakfast, each grandkid once a month. That'd be fun. It's going to cost me an extra $500 a month. Okay. So we budget that in and you start doing it. Okay. Now I'm starting to spend. I'm getting more comfortable with it. Hey, I'd like to take this one trip. Okay. Well, a $10,000 withdrawal scares the snot out of you. Okay. Well, instead, how about this? We'll just send you $800 a month. You save it. And then when you're ready, you take that trip. You start building up to learning how to spend and how to live on the money. Okay. And so you can start with small, meaningful habits that encourage you to spend, or you can do number 4.
I like number 4. I'm here for number 4.
Jump in the deep end with a major splurge.
Get that convertible, girl. Do it.
We had some clients who she worked at a school and state had their daughter, and then he was a pilot who traveled all over the world. Yeah. Did all types of stuff, a lot of travel. They're wonderful clients. And he spent his whole career on planes, traveling, seeing the world. Meanwhile, she was back home with their daughter and, raising her and also working. Yeah. So when she retired from the school, she said, all right, I'm ready to do some stuff. And he was like, oh man, I've seen the world, this and that. She goes, tough luck, buddy. And she immediately booked them a cruise. Nice. Where they flew from Detroit to Seattle. Yeah. Took a cruise all the way from Seattle down around Hawaii. Wow. And then ended up in Australia, where then they took another cruise through the islands and then a couple weeks across Australia. And it was a 7-week-long vacation. 7 weeks. Wow. Within 5 months of her retirement, they were on this trip. I love it. That is a deep end splurge. Yeah. And for the record, he is not a spender. He's a saver. So she hooked him into the deep end. She dragged him into the deep end with her, and they had the time of their lives, which is beautiful because not too long after that, he had to have knees replaced and a hip issue and wasn't healthy enough to make that same trip again. So I'm glad they did it when they did. Yep. So either create the small spending habit, or number 4, just jump in the deep end of the big one. Remodel the kitchen, take the trip, do something big, and hopefully you can enjoy that for a long time, even if it's just the memories you made. Yep. Number 5, do a regret exercise. Out of this whole list, this has crazy power, but it's also a little bit morbid. Okay. And a regret exercise is when you imagine that you were diagnosed with a terminal illness. Yeah. Like imagine you're dying and you've got 6 months or a year to live. What would I regret not spending any money on? What experiences would I wish I had prioritized? Or who would I have wanted to give to while I was alive? Okay. And the last one would kind of be, if you did have 6 months, what would you do first? That's a good one. So I like that. Rather than looking at strictly the regret, is like, all right, if I have 6 months to live, what am I doing? I bet you're not going back to work. Right. I bet you're not doing the monotonous things. You're doing the extravagant things or the fun things. And that's a good way of telling where your heart's leaning. Man, I should have. I wish I had. Things like that. The exercise can provide clarity on what truly matters. And it can help you shift from saving to spending, because it really gives you a purpose behind it. Holy cow, I didn't realize it meant that much to me to go to Niagara Falls or to go to whatever, or to at least set foot in Europe. Like, I didn't know that. But when I thought of the idea of never having done it, it hurt me. Mm-hmm. So that's a great exercise. Number 5, do a regret exercise. It can help bring some clarity. And then number 6, understand what a scarcity mindset is and what that brings, the perils that it brings.
Because this is about, it's the same concept. There's all different kinds of variations of the concept of the law of attraction, and you have heard it. You listening to us on Wood Radio, You have heard what you put into the universe is what the universe gives back to you. Right.
And there's a limiting function to your brain if you believe certain ways, right? Mm-hmm. If you spend your whole life saying, I can't because, well, then you won't. Right. At the same time, if you I know we say half full, half empty, whatever, but the reality is this: if you spend your whole life with a thought of, I can't afford this, I can't do that, mm-hmm. you create a negative mental feeling towards money. You create a negative outlook on a lot of stuff. So it becomes, I could never because, I would never because. I joke with my brother-in-law all the time. He does not believe in putting money into certain investments. Okay. Right. So he does not like extra bells and whistles in a vehicle. Doesn't believe it. It's a utility. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about buying like a $200,000 car, right? But like when I bought the Yukon that I have for us, I have 4 kids, my wife, we need big vehicles. So she and I each have Yukons. And when I was getting it, he was like, ugh. Because I said, I love the ventilated seats, the air conditioned seats. Yes, you do. That's really good to me. Yeah. I drive a lot, put a lot of miles in the car. Yeah. And I want to be comfortable when I'm driving. Yeah. And he does construction, and he's got his truck, and it's a utility. It's not a comfort thing. I would never spend money on that. I'm like, that's fine. Enjoy your non-ventilated seats, right? We all put value where we want. And whenever it comes to things like that, we know people who just have this negative view towards it. Yeah. And then those are not who I would take financial advice from, right? Like, I would take financial advice and thoughts from people who know how to help people accomplish goals with money. There's a real bad thing about having a scarcity mindset. You don't want to live that way. You don't want to retire that way for sure. You want to retire in a way where you can accomplish the things you've always dreamt of doing. Okay. So don't let yourself have a scarcity mindset. And that really dovetails really well into number 7, which is evaluate your spending curves. Okay. Not only do I not want a scarcity mindset, I need to know when I should spend money. The first 5 to 10 years of retirement, the most healthy years, the most capable years, the most opportunistic years of your life. So you should go do all the things in that time frame, because at age 78, 80, 82, 85, you will not travel. You will not do all the stuff. Now, there's always the outlier, right? Whenever I talk about this, someone says, did you know my grandma was doing this into her 80s? I'm like, all right, well, then she is the one of 100 or the one of 1,000. Right. The law of large numbers. And I'll tell you this, not even the law of the hundreds of people we have helped retire. Hundreds of people in Grand Rapids and mid-Michigan. We have helped retire and walk into that phase of life. When they do that, I watch it over and over again. 60s, 70s, very healthy, very active. Late 70s, they slow down. And in the 80s, it's what we call the won't go years. They have the time and the money. They don't have a desire. So they don't take the trips. They don't do those things. They kind of just settle into a groove. At that point, the money will start to naturally stockpile. So we might as well front load your retirement, spend money early, and live life doing things you want to do. Give us a call and we can build that life plan for you. 616-512-2127 or michigansretirementcoach.com. Let's set up a time for you and I to talk to make sure you retire the right way for you and that you build a retirement worth living.
Every week we like to do some Finance 101. So for this week's financial, I need to like an echo booming Financial 101 with Michigan's retirement coach.
Coach. Yeah.
101. The basic question, do I have enough to retire? Mike, how does somebody figure that out?
Number 1, have a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding.
Excellent tip. End of segment. Next question.
End of segment. Yes, next question, please. No, I think the biggest thing and this question comes up a lot. Like, what is the magic number?
Yeah.
What do I need to have? And the problem comes from the articles we read.
Yep.
Right? Like there'll be one that comes out from like the New York Times and it'll say, 2 million ain't what it used to be. How do you retire on $2 million? I'm like, well, living in New York City, I don't know if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have other ones that'll come out from AARP saying, well, it looks like $1 million should work, or the rule of 4% does or doesn't work. And it's hard to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I would say is there's two numbers you have to know.
Okay.
Number one, how much do you need in retirement? Right? It's kind of like you start with the end in mind. So I coach my kids' basketball teams, and I coach a wide range. My son Gavin plays JV basketball. My son Zachary is on a 14U team. Caleb's on a 12U team. And then Emmeline, my daughter, is playing her first year of basketball. It's 10U basketball. 9 and 10-year-olds, little girls playing basketball. And I was talking with the coach last night, and we were kind of joking around about what type of offense do you run with 9 and 10-year-old girls? And the decision said the offense should be dictated by what type of shots you want to take. Like, what type of shots can 9 and 10-year-old girls make consistently?
Okay.
Well, it's not 3-pointers.
Okay.
Right? And it's not 18-foot shots. You want to get shots from 10 foot and in consistently, right?
Okay.
So we want to run an offense that says, here's how I get these type of shots. I want to run things that get us near the hoop so we can make easy shots, because we want these 9 to 10-year-old girls, more than winning, is to enjoy basketball.
Yeah.
And to enjoy playing and competing. And you know what's fun? Making baskets is fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this age, the first team to 10 points is probably going to win the game.
Okay.
So you start with the end in mind.
Okay.
What type of shots do we want to take? And that determines how we run the offense. When it comes to retirement planning, how much money do I need to live off of month to month? That will tell us how much money we need to have to retire. So if you say, well, where I live, I'm going to need $6,000 a month or $5,000, whatever the number is, right? I had one guy who retired here from the west side of the state. He was a CFO of a company, and he retired with about $2.5, almost $3 million.
Okay.
But he was used to a very high monthly salary. And so when he retired, as we went through the numbers, he said, I'd like 25 grand a month to live off of.
Ooh.
Net after tax.
Ooh.
So that's $300,000 after tax a year he wants to live off of.
Wow.
Which was 10% of his total asset net worth. So as we went through that, I said, just so you understand, Tim, here's kind of where we sit. You are asking for 10% of your net worth every year. That's an interesting play. It's a really unique retirement plan. And we had to have a lot of difficult conversations through that.
Okay.
So when we started with the end in mind, because normally if I say, hey, does $3 million enough to retire? Almost everybody would say yes. If you need $300,000 a year,
that's tough. That's a stretch.
$3 million probably isn't enough.
Okay.
At least, it can work, but the Monte Carlo numbers are going to look real bad.
Okay.
Right. On the other hand, I had a couple who came in.
Monte Carlo is a software simulation that projects based on market history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a great clarification. Sorry. So, but then I had another couple who lived up near Harrison, and, they had a very simple life. They had total between the two of them about $250,000 of retirement savings. And they came across us through a referral from a client. And as we're talking through, I said, how much do you need a month to live off of? They said, well, we sold our place down because they used to live down kind of in the Brighton area. They sold their place down there. They're living up in Harrison. They have a double lot that's been paid for and a cottage they live in. So they have all the yard they want. It's a very simple place. They like where they live. And most importantly, they said their monthly bills are around $2,000 a month.
Nice.
I said, is that like bare minimum? Is that just keeping your lights on, or is that everything? They go, no, it's everything. Like
wow.
we're front porch sitters. We are easy. And his Social Security and her Social Security every month is about $3,500, and he gets a pension for another $1,000 a month.
Wow.
So they have $4,500 a month of income. They only need $2,000 to $2,500 a month to live off of. So they have $250,000 in savings, and it's more than enough. It's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah.
So people always want to know, like, what is the big thing that makes, like, how much do I need to save? Well, for that couple, $250,000. When I ran the numbers, I'm like, you'll never spend this money.
Mm-hmm.
The other gentleman comes in with $3 million almost, and we have him running out of money in our spreadsheets and our simulations within 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it really boils down to what type of life do you want to live? So again, just like I said, how do you coach 9 and 10-year-old girls? You figure out what type of shots you need to take, and then you figure out how to get there from here. Your retirement is literally about how much do I need a month?
Yeah.
And how do I get there from here? So we sit down and say, if you need $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month after tax,
Yeah.
and your fixed income sources, your social securities and maybe a pension gives you $4,000. So now we're short $2,000 a month. How do we come up with that? Well, again, $2,000 after tax.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we may need to do a dividend portfolio or preferred stocks. That way we can get a nice kickoff every single month and get the income we need. We may need to do an annuity. We may need to use some life insurance, or do you have a rental property? There's a lot of options you can use towards getting income, but it's about figuring out what makes the most sense. How much do you need to live off of? And then we take that number and stretch it out over what we believe a good life expectancy is. We run everything to age 100. Most people tell us that's ridiculous, but I said, hey, my software goes to 100. We're going to 100. Mm-hmm. And I jokingly say that, but my grandfather just turned 99 last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 95 last week. And he is doing pretty good. He still drives.
Yeah.
Still gets himself around.
Yeah.
So is 100 out of the question? I don't know. He's pretty stubborn. There's a good chance he makes it to 100, you know, but at the same time, if he died in a week, we'd be like, man, 95 is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So to get people to get their money to last to age 100 isn't even a farce or like a pipe dream anymore. It's really more of like, hey, this might happen.
Yeah.
So how much do you need? Well, we take your lifestyle, your factors, your longevity, inflation, taxes, all that stuff. We roll it into our calculations and we say, we need this much per month, which means we need this many dollars. And at the end of the day, we don't want to invest with extra risk just so we can have an extra $500 a month. We need a plan that makes sense for us. But the problem is you read these articles.
Yep.
And they'll say $2 million ain't what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Or they'll say, hey, did you know that $2.5 million is the new 2 million or whatever. And you just go, you know what? I don't need this headline clickbait generic advice from New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, whatever.
Right.
We're here in Michigan.
Yeah.
And we are trying to live this life. And we always joke, you know, we watch these HGTV shows and we're like, we are rich in Mississippi where they film Hometown and in Waco, Texas where they film Chip and Joanna. We are rich there.
I can't believe the cost of those houses. I'm like, we're moving.
And then I watch shows from Toronto, like the Property Brothers, whatever. And I'm like, man, we are poor in Toronto. These guys are like selling pencils and living in a $2 million postage stamp lot. Like, it's unbelievable.
I know.
How can you live like that? Mm-hmm. But
supply and demand.
So here in Michigan, I don't care what they pay in Toronto. Yeah. I don't care what they pay in Waco, Texas, or you know, Mississippi.
Yeah.
What I care about is how do we survive and thrive here?
Yeah.
How do we live the life we want? How do we build the plans we want?
Yeah.
This is retirement planning in Michigan. When people call in and they talk to me about their situation and we have our conversation, it's what moves people from fear or concern to comfort and confidence. If you'd like to have this conversation, not a generic advice from across the country, but a Michigan-based conversation about your retirement, give me a call at 616-512-2127, and we'll get you set up with a time for you and I to talk, to hear your story. I'll call you. We'll talk about things, answer your questions, and hopefully give you some peace of mind. Again, give us a call, 616-512-2127, or you can reach out to us at michigansretirementcoach.com.
Mike and his team, they're here to help guide you through this process because at the end of the day, the goal is that you're going to retire one time. But Mike and his team, they're retiring every single day or helping folks do that. So they got a wealth of knowledge in their pocket that they're ready to share with you. michigansretirementcoach.com is our website where you can go to start the conversation with Mike and his team, or click on the links we got posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit michigansretirementcoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.